Rape is a very scary subject to think about, and I'm sure it's much, much more terrifying to actually have to suffer through. Thankfully, I have never been in that situation before, but I do have a friend who was raped on her 16th birthday when she had just left the DMV after getting her license. She went to go gas up her car, and it happened behind the gas station, sadly. And with this speech, I would like to help bring awareness to situations like that and help persuade other people to believe that we do need harsher sentencing and to make a change about it. So, the four main points of discussion that I will be having today are the definition and statistics of rape, current punishments in Florida, why there should be harsher sentencing, and how potential victims can protect themselves. Firstly, I would like to explain the definition of rape and share some statistics with you. According to Merriam-Webster.com, the definition of rape is unlawful sexual activity and usually sexual intercourse that is forcibly carried out against the person's will or the person who is beneath a certain age or unable to give valid consent because of mental illness, mental deficiency, intoxication, unconsciousness, or deception. And the certain age of valid consent or legal consent in the U.S. is 18 when you legally become an adult. Now I'd like to share some statistics from nsvrc.org. 1 in 5 women and 1 in 71 men will or have been raped in their life. 8 in 10 victims knew their rapist. Only 12% of child sexual abuse gets reported annually. 34% of child sexual abuse is committed by a family member of said child. Secondly, the current punishments in Florida. Now, according to FindLaw.com, the potential punishments for rape in Florida depend on 3 main factors. The first being the ages of the victim and defendant. The second, if there was use of a weapon. And the third, if the victim suffered any bodily harm. Now, according to FindLaw.com, they provided examples of how a case trial of rape could turn out depending on these factors. So, if the victim is under 12 and the defendant is over 18, then capital punishment can be served. Capital punishment meaning either the death penalty or life in prison without parole. The minimum charge for sexual battery on a victim that is over 12 is a second-degree felony, meaning there is up to 15 years of jail, and that's just the minimum charge. If the defendant used a deadly weapon or force that can or did cause the victim bodily harm, then that is punishable by a life felony, which is life in prison with up to $15,000 in bail. Third, I would like to explain why there should be harsher punishments. For this, I will use an example. I won't be using my friend because she's asked me not to state her name or what her case was. So I will be using Jason Minton, which also happened in the town of Ormond Beach, Florida. According to ClickOrlando.com, he met his victim at her work on February 14th, 2020, and convinced her to have lunch to have a conventional interview at noon on February 18th. It's reported that throughout the afternoon, he had ordered multiple alcoholic beverages for her, and they were at the River Grill in Ormond Beach. She was too drunk to stand and too drunk to walk, so he brought her to his car and drove away. 63 minutes later, he had returned and placed her in her own car. Now, Mr. Minton has multiple charges and has spent 2 years in jail in 1998 for sexual battery. In 2015, he was charged with sexual battery again, but he was let off as a misdemeanor and served no time. Currently, he is being held for a $50,000 bond on sexual assault and no bond for kidnapping. If there had been harsher sentencing, he may not have done it this third time. He might not have been able to do it this third time. And according to RAINN.org, more than half of all alleged rapists have a prior rape conviction. So there are multiple reports of rapists doing that again, of making that crime, that mistake again, because either their sentencing wasn't harsh enough or they didn't get the exact help that they needed. And the fourth the fourth point I would like to have explained to you is how potential victims can protect themselves. So I believe that it's common sense to carry pepper spray, a mace, a Swiss Army knife, and car keys, or anything else when either going to your car late at night, going on a walk or a jog, even walking to school, because at every point there can be danger, and I was brought up that way to see that there can be danger in things where there really shouldn't be, and as a society we should not allow that to be dangerous. Just walking to school shouldn't be dangerous, but it is, so it's good to have those things on you. And there is an invention that can help prevent date rape drugs. It is called the SIP chip, and according to Undercover Colors, the SIP chip can get results if a drink is spiked or not within 30 seconds. It works with 100 types of alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, and it is 99.3% accurate, which is the highest accuracy that we have had in any invention that pertains to date rape drugs. In conclusion, I discussed my main points: the definition and statistics of rape, the current punishments in Florida and their deciding factors, why we need harsher sentencing, and how potential victims can protect themselves. I understand that having harsher sentencing won't make the world a safe place exactly, but it can make it safer for the victims and potential victims of these rapists and repeat sex offenders. And it can also perhaps help rehabilitate them, and so they can function in a normal and natural society. Thank you for your time.